Dear chess friends, crazy things are going on in the Computer Rapid Chess Championship in 2023 that's going on now on chess.com. The new chess engine, the Torch engine, is now very close to Stockfish. It's only 1 point behind, but has also played 2 games less than the Stockfish engine. So for instance, if Torch wins 1 game and maybe plays a draw, it could take over. It could take the lead in the Computer Rapid Chess Championship, which is really crazy. The Torch project is getting stronger and stronger. As I mentioned, I had a certain feeling that this could be really a challenging new engine that could maybe compete in a decent level with Stockfish. Of course, there were some other engines like Lila C0 and the Dragon Chess engine, but still, Stockfish won always this TC Steam competition, some other computer chess championships. Now I think this project is getting really strong, and it could be really devastating. I think that's the thing that we wanted to see. We wanted to see a competition. We want to see, of course, improvements. We want to see development. So in my opinion, this will be now an epic time for us. Now the Torch engine is, as I said, really the second best chess engine in the world, at least. So we'll see what will happen in the Computer Rapid Chess Championship. So as I said, today you can follow it on chess.com. The link to the tournament will be in the description below. Please check it out. As I said, so far as I'm recording this video, maybe something changed now so far, but as I'm recording this video, Torch is only 1 point behind and has played 2 games less than Stockfish 16. Really crazy stuff. So I wanted to show a really beautiful gameplay by Torch. I think the Torch engine deserves to be praised here, and we want to see, of course, also now this powerful engine, and it played against also very strong chess engine Berserk. The tempo of this game was 10 minutes on the clock plus 5 seconds increment per move. Pay good attention. In my opinion, really one of the most beautiful games so far by the Torch chess engine. So let's see on what happened with the white pieces. The Torch engine opened with the move e4. We have c5 by the Berserk engine. Knight to f3, e6, the French Sicilian. D4, we have c takes d4. Knight to d4, we have the open Sicilian. And after knight to f6, knight to c3, we have now the chevening structure with the move d6. We have bishop to e2, of course, with ideas maybe to hit the flanks here with g4, h4, g5, h5. Oh, this is one of the best methods to beat the chevening. Also, some other Sicilians like the Dragon Sicilian. You want to, of course, basically attack the king side immediately. We have bishop to e7 here by Berserk, g4 immediately by the Torch chess engine, knight to c6, and now after move g5, we have knight to d7. And okay, here Torch made already huge development. Here has really advanced on the king side. Has also some opportunities maybe to hit here in the later stage of the game the weak pawn on d6. This I think is also many times the target from white's perspective to continue progressive ideas against this pawn on d6. We have bishop to e3 here by Torch, simply normal development, preparing of course queen to d2 and queenside castling h4, h5. Here for instance, if you play bishop to g5, this is not good because after bishop to g5, queen to g5, knight takes c6 and b takes c6, queen to d6, you lose a very important pawn. This pawn is weak. Queenside castling maybe later can be played. We'll kick away the queen. We'll play, I don't know, queenside castling, rook to g1. I think this whole defense of blacks is simply collapsing in a couple more moves. So that's why here after bishop to e3, Berserk simply castled towards the king side. We have h4 with further progressive ideas with h5, h6, knight to b6, and now queen to d2, again preparing queenside castling. Bishop to d7, f4. Torch is storming now with 4 of these pawns here on the king side. Is of course trying somehow to open a position to spice up the game on this side of the board. D5, very common idea in the chevening structure, also in other Sicilians, when you have this flexibility with your D pawn, with your E pawn, so you can break and enter in the center and simplify the game, maybe going into a drawish line. But here Berserk the Torch engine simply castled queenside and allowed here Berserk to pick up now the pawn on E4. And now I think the game becomes very interesting. Here I think the Torch engine shows also its power by playing very cool and progressive ideas. First of all, what Torch played, knight to b5. Very interesting idea. Look at this. We have already the d-file attack. We're threatening also, of course, bishop takes b6 followed with queen to d7. That's also a huge threat. d6 is weak. So I think for so far, the lost pawn, this is a beautiful compensation. This is simply a beautiful attacking flow. But the downside, I think a little bit, what I consider as maybe a downside of this attack with knight to b5 is that even though you have progressive ideas on the queen side. That's exactly the side that you don't want to attack, because basically you're trying to keep this side of the board really maybe close, because in this opposite side attack games, when we have the kings on both sides, one of these engines is maybe trying even to sacrifice something just in order to open the position. And look at this, what happens. After bishop to e8, of course, as we said, bishop takes b6, and then queen to d7 was a huge threat. Queen to e1 by the torch engine, attacking now the queen with the rook here on d1. We have queen to c8, and now very, very interesting idea here by torch, knight takes a7. And in the beginning, after knight takes a7 and bishop to b6, this seemed to me like a little bit strange idea, I have to admit it, because here the torch engine basically helped out black in black's further progressive ideas here on the king side. So as I said, in this opposite side attack games, it doesn't even matter if you lose some material, even if you lose some pawns. What you're trying to do, of course, is somehow to open the position. And I think that's exactly what happened. So here I think, although this is maybe not a spectacular tactic, the torch bit, but I think here torch showed that it can calculate really, really in deep ways, because it would be very, very strange, I think, to play the game like this for human eye, I think, because you're opening up the a file, the c file is already endangered by the queen's activity, the bishops are already very dangerous, both of them targeting, of course, here on the queen side. I'm not saying white has also, of course, progressive ideas on this side of the board, but it seemed to me really, really risky that you're going into this tactical sequence, opening up your a file. But let's see now how torch defended the position here on this side of the board. Here we have queen to c6, bishop to d4, b5, and now queen to g3, simply playing on normal development, connecting the rooks, and of course including the queen in further attacking chances here on the king side. We have b4, knight takes e4. Of course, knight takes e4 leads into a complicated game after bishop to f3, so this is not working. After knight to e4, we have knight to b5, and you see now, slowly but surely, Berserk also created a beautiful attacking formation. The knight very active, rook very active on the a file. As I said, the bishop very, very dangerous, but now torch played, I think, a spectacular move with the move knight to f6. This is the way to go. Simply being tiny little bit faster here than black. Here the move knight to f6 is already creating sort of a tactical shot in which black has to react now correctly. Of course, you cannot take here with g takes f6, then after g takes f6 the game is lost. Even if you try bishop to f6, then it's a little bit longer, the tactical sequence, but still this is messed up here for black. You have to play something like g6, then we play bishop to f3, you play queen to c4, we attack the queen, you can maybe retreat, but now we pick up the rook, and maybe some of us would be scared maybe to lose the battle somehow here, but it doesn't matter. We can still, of course, include the queen here into the attack on dark squares. You can pick up just one pawn, but no further good checks are possible. We just continue with our normal plan. Queen to h6, you can deliver one check. King to b1 or even bishop to b2 were good moves in my opinion. Game over here, of course, for black. So this is not working. After knight to f6, so that's why king to h8, we have bishop to b5, queen to b5, knight takes e8, rook to e8, and now king to b1. And still, I think, although the engine gives here a +1 evaluation for in white's favor, I think many players, really many players would lose this game with the white pieces, especially because I think they would be scared to defend this position here, especially on the a file. But let's see now how really torch played beautiful defensive ideas. We have queen to c6, queen to h2, king to g8, h5, and now queen to a6, immediately hitting here the weak pawn on a2. Torch played a beautiful defensive move, a3, but after b takes a3, we play now a beautiful b3, passing through and locking out now here the a file, basically applying the strategy that I like to call defending, of course, again by using your enemy's pawns. You're hiding behind your enemy's pawns. This is the way to go. Of course, here Berserk continued with a2, but now after king to a1 and queen to c6, now we have h6. You don't have good checks here. Here in the continuation, Berserk tried bishop to b4 with the progressive idea, of course, to play the dangerous move bishop to c3. This can be met, of course, with the move c4. The torch played, of course. We have queen to e4, and now queen to b2, connecting everything, but still, this is dangerous. Look at this. The king is cornered. If somehow this diagonal gets cleared, white is losing the game on spot. Really crazy position. Queen to f3 here played by torch. We have now queen to c2. The problem is now here you cannot play bishop to g7. This wouldn't be a good position because there is a nice defensive idea here for black with the move e5. E5 would lock out now the diagonal. Play something like bishop to e5. Look at this, rook to e5, queen to e5, and now bishop to c3 is winning the game suddenly for black. Many of us, I think, would grab simply this pawn on g7 and would say, I'm completely winning here for sure, but then you get this beautiful tactic with e5 and you're getting smashed in a much better position. Really crazy game here by both of these engines. So that's why queen to c2. We have queen to f4, c5 here. The torch engine simply relies on this beautiful passer, which can be maybe later supported also by the b pawn. So what the torch engine created here is a beautiful endgame strategy, which is now this two connected passers in the endgame. I think from this point on, the game is really one-way ticket, but still, from white's perspective, you have to first defend the position. If you defend it, then in a potential fully endgame stage, you're completely winning for sure. But let's see now how Berserk continue with rook to d8, attacking the bishop, again with some threats maybe to pick up this key defender of dark horse and maybe somehow deliver a dangerous check on this diagonal. So far it's not possible, but as a progressive plan, this is of course working for black. So we have bishop to b2, queen to f5, and now queen to f5. This move I really like because, as I said, this is now an idea to reach the fully endgame stage when you have these two. Okay, they're not connected immediately, but they can be, of course, connected. Just we have to get rid of this annoying bishop on b4 somehow. We have e takes f5, c6, g takes h6. We have g takes h6. Here there is a certain problem. That's why I highlighted this this position like this. Here is always a potential problem that white's rooks are playing always much more freely, because if black's rooks somehow leave the defense of the back rank, then there are even some back rank checkmate possibilities. Here we have rook to c8 by the Berserk engine. We have rook to d4. We have bishop to c5. For instance, here in this particular position, rook to g1 instead of rook to d4 is not so good, because actually black can run away. You can maybe deliver one check, but after king to e7, the problem is now white doesn't have any more good checks. You can maybe deliver with rook, but then you lose simply the rook, and black's king will escape here towards this side of the board, and then of course it's game over for white actually. So that's why rook to d4, the correct choice here by the torch engine, which we have bishop to c5, rook to c4. You cannot pick up, of course, the pawn on c6 because you run into this tactic. b4 is winning the game on spot. So that's why after rook to c4, bishop to b6 here, the torch engine simply included now finally this other rook into the game. We have rook to e6, bishop to d4, bishop to c7. Even if you try, I don't know, maybe something like bishop to d4 here, this is not working because of a rook to d4. Again, as I said, that's the issue, the back rank checkmate possibility. You're trying maybe something like king to f8, but now after this check, you can maybe trade off more pieces. And now with rook to c1, look at this. As I said, if we somehow connect these two passers, especially if you maybe move the rook, move the pawn here on the b file towards the square b6, this is then devastating for sure. With the support of the rook, I think black can resign the game. Okay, maybe here there are two pawns, but of course they can be always stopped by the rook's activity on the back rank. So a completely winning endgame here for white for sure. So after move bishop to d4, that's why bishop to c7, b4. Continuing now with the plan, as I said, simple endgame idea, b5, rook to g6, and now finally also this pawn is taken. Here Berserk of course tried to push this pawns and of course tried to get the king somehow closer to the action, but now with bishop to d4, king to f6, rook to h6 here. Torch even played an interesting idea, rook to e6, traded off the rooks, actually allowed here even black to connect his own pawns here. But as I said, it seems to me that Torch is very good in calculation. So this was a good choice, because now the king gets closer. Here we have bishop to b8, and now another beautiful move here by Torch, really tricky, b6. For instance, if you play here rook to c6, then again Torch calculated everything in a good way. We attack simply the rook. If you play something like here rook takes b6, then after bishop to b6, again it's a messed up game. If you, for instance, connect somehow the king to the rook, then rook to d4 is dangerous, and then you step back from the defense of the rook, again the game would be over. Really wild stuff. So that's why here king to d5 was played. Again the Torch engine protected its pawn. As I said, after rook to c6, this is now the winning idea. rook to d4, and then the game is over for black. After king to b5, that's why e5. Here we have now finally bishop to b4, protecting everything now on this side of the board. e4, rook to c5, kicking away the king, king to e6, and now after move c7, we have this idea, f4, c takes b8, the promotion of the queen, and now after a couple more moves, the game is simply over. Torch simply picks up this pawn, and after move b7, in this particular position, here the Berserk engine resigned. Great game, I think. I will not say this is really spectacular like we have seen many games now by Stockfish, but as I mentioned before, I have a certain feeling about this Torch chess engine that it's improving in a dramatically, really beautiful way. It's improving in every day, so it's a huge project by the great developers, as I mentioned also in our introduction video of this beautiful chess engine. We will see what will happen. I think you know how I like this computer chess games, but I think what we miss here many times is a certain competition. So when maybe sometimes Stockfish wins the tournament, maybe the Torch engine, maybe Lila wins the tournament. So we, I think, need more I don't know, drama in the computer chess world, because usually it's of course a completely pure domination by Stockfish. So I think the Torch chess engine now at least is now the second chess best engine in the world. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of the Sicilian defense. If you want to see the first video that we have covered also by the Torch chess engine, please check it out. Here's the link of our playlist, and if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say? Chess is the best, of course.